Hello and welcome to my channel where I focus on my sort of journey through from Poland to Sweden, where I have been living now here in Sweden for the past 10 years, over 10 years. Also, I focus on talking about self-development and a bit of minimalism as well. Again, my personal journey through life and of consumerism and so on, finally arriving at a sort of minimalistic approach to things. And my name's Philip, I'm pushing 40. As I said, I've been living now in Sweden, and in today's video I will focus on Sweden, right? My thoughts on answering this question, why aren't you moving to Scandinavia, as sort of my kind of overly positive approach to living to Sweden. But obviously it is very subjective, again, from my perspective, so a person who has been living for 10 years, and specifically in the north parts of the Sweden, in a city sort of middle sized, I suppose. It's roughly around 80,000, I suppose. Not even 80, maybe 70,000 people that live here in this city, right? Small city or big town, right? Enough about that. Let's jump right into it. Right, the first aspect that is sort of I think kind of prevalent, regardless of where in Sweden you live or you find yourself in, is the concept of lagom. You'll definitely find oodles of other videos on that concept, so definitely check them out as well, I suppose, because it's such an important piece of Sweden specifically, actually. I wouldn't go as far as to claim that it's also present in Norway and so on. But lagom, what is it? Well, basically it's not too much, not too little. I remember one of my first coffees I was having with one of my Swedish friends. I would speak just English at the time, but I remember I was going to fetch some coffee for them, and I asked, "Oh, do you want with milk?" And they said yes. And I said, "How much milk do you want?" And they said lagom. I didn't quite understand it, but it was that's the way of them to express not too little, not too much. It can be quite subjective too, and personal. But you can sort of encounter lagom in small everyday situations, and also behaviors of Swedes as such. There are no extremities. They're quite calm people, I would say, for the most part. Of course, I am generalizing here. That people are very extreme too, but as a nation, they are quite calm. I wouldn't, perhaps can be sort of seen as reserved. Obviously, that's sort of weather related too, right? The more north you go, the more reserved people seem to be. So it holds true for where I live. People are calm, reserved, and so this lagom aspect is like you could sort of at the very first encounter perceive Swedes as sort of withholding emotions. So this is not true. It's just at the very beginning, people are sort of quite careful with expressing themselves. But from my own experience here, once you've made a Swedish friend, it's for real and for life. So it's definitely not superficial, and I think it's beautiful. So lagom, concept of lagom, I suppose I will make an entire video just devoted to it. But I want to mention a few other aspects that I think quite wonderful in Sweden. The next one is safe and clean. So actually, now the Swedish language is jumping in. Sorry about that. Again, depending on where in Sweden you live, but I suppose in general, small cities, villages, and so on are very safe, extremely safe. And where I find myself, I can walk in the middle of the night, wherever, and feel extremely safe. And I think it's beautiful. And also clean, right? Again, depending on what country you're coming from. But for example, I appreciate those little things. There is no littering, and whenever somebody walks their dog and the dog does their business. So the owner would always pick up their droppings, like always. And I think it's really quite amazing for me coming from Poland. Also, when it comes to, well, not really safety or cleanness, but I find it quite beautiful that, quite often when I'm outside walking, I can see like a single glove or an umbrella just hanging on a branch of a tree or a bush. I guess people, whenever they find stuff, they would always leave it somewhere. So pick it up, and sort of hang it. So the person who lost it will find it. So it's again, I haven't experienced it in say Poland, Northern Ireland, where I lived. Also, can it, again it can have it can sort of be related to the size of the city as well, obviously. Another aspect is sort of, I really appreciate it because it's never too late to study in Sweden. And what I mean by that, first of all, studying is free, so you don't pay for the studies themselves. Also, there's some sort of a payment plan if you need to take a loan for studies. It's wonderful because it doesn't have such a great sort of percentage that you have to pay extra when paying it back. So it's great, the rate. But again, what I mean by not too late to study, again, me coming from Poland, sort of very often, once you've had your education and started a career, on that path for the most part of your life, perhaps you can change some into a related field of work and so on. It's not unheard of, obviously, but here in Sweden, it's sort of it's definitely okay, not frowned upon, and there's a lot of possibilities to switch careers when you're 30, 40, 50. It doesn't really matter. There's plenty of opportunities. The adult education possibilities here, apart from the universities themselves, are like nowhere else, I'd say, and it's wonderful. And I know because I work in this business of adult education, and it's great. It's like it's so developed here, loads of possibilities. And I think it's extremely important aspect of one's life because it affords you sort of again, going back to this safety, feeling calm, because you can always switch careers and there will be even financial support for that too. So that's great. Well, another aspect is that it can be regarded as negative and positive, is that the rules are followed. Quite strictly. You can hear that phrase, "Oh, sorry, this is not what the rules say. We have to stick to the rules," and so on. So people really abide by or most of the rules. It's beautiful. Probably this is part of why Sweden was the only country during COVID that the people were not forced by law to stay in house and follow all those safety regulations and rules and so on, because the government just trusts people, to follow the sort of the reason, right? I'd say, and I appreciate it myself that rules are followed. Obviously, not like to the extremities, but I'd like to consider myself a law-abiding citizen, so I feel again safe and calm in a country where I know that the rules for the most part are followed. I think it's grand. So again, the last point is sort of a democracy matters, and again, through the rules, through everything, through how you can see it also in how Sweden sort of puts in the center of everything children and their well-being, and back to democracy. Even at the workplace, you hear everybody's sort of expected to hear everybody's opinion before making a decision. It can make the decision making a bit prolonged, but it also feels like we don't miss out on some probably important views from somebody that's perhaps introverted and so on. So everybody's opinion will be had before making a decision. Again, and it can be related also to lagom, right? Because people will take their time, don't pressure people into making a decision. So there will be no sort of normally haphazard decision making, but well thought out, and I think it's grand to. Oh, I would like to talk more and more, but I've reached 10 minutes. I don't want those videos to be longer than that. So I'll stop for now here. Perhaps I'll follow with another video of this sort. And again, this is mostly the positives through my experience or where I find myself. Again, it's not for everybody. Even the concept of lagom might be not to your liking. It all depends. Or those rules, being a law-abiding country, again, can be not to everybody's liking. Right. For now, that's it. Thank you so much for your time, and I hope I'll talk to you soon. Bye bye.